Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Growing with TJ out here in the garden. It is Sunday, June 1st. I just want to let you know my zone is 7A. I know a lot of people like to know what people's zones are. It is actually only about 51 degrees and breezy, so very below average for this time of the year. It should be around 80 degrees is the average high during this time. But I'm going to go through the garden, just take you along with me, just my, daily chores in the garden, checking everything out, seeing if I see any pests or any animals maybe coming into my garden, which I have been seeing a groundhog that I have caught on my camera, and he has destroyed my kale plant. So we'll do a couple things to protect some of my vulnerable plants with that, and we'll just enjoy a nice, beautiful day in the garden. So here we go. All right, so I'm over here at my cherry tomato trellis, and you can see they're growing pretty well. That's a good 2 feet. We got flowers down here, actually some little tomatoes, cherry tomatoes growing. We got flowers up here. I'm not going to go too much into detail about pruning. I'll probably do a video, next week about how I prune my tomatoes. You can see I really cramp them in here to try and maximize my space. Now, with cherry tomatoes, I don't prune too much. I do prune a little bit just so it's not a complete jungle trying to pick all my cherry tomatoes, but I prune way less on my cherry tomatoes than my bigger slicing tomatoes. So I'm just going to be staking this up. Let me pull these out here for you. I like to use garden twine or these little plastic clips. With the cattle panel, it's very nice to use these plastic clips. Now, if I'm using a stake or something like that, I will probably use twine because obviously I can't get this little plastic clip onto a stake. So I will just simply get it to where I'd like. This one's not too bad yet, and I might have to use a leaf to help support it. There you go. As this grows up, I'll probably connect right here and just work my way up the trellis. All right, guys, so I'll bring you in a little closer to show you more of a close-up of putting these plastic clips on my tomatoes. Like I said, I will do a more detailed video about how I prune, my cherry tomatoes, indeterminate slicing tomatoes, and what I do with my determinate tomatoes. But you can see here, this is the main stem right here. It comes up here, and in this crotch area, I have a sucker that grew, and interesting enough, you see how they are basically looking about the same. So now I got 2 stems here. Obviously got more suckers coming, and I don't prune my cherry tomatoes too much, but I do a little bit just to keep them under control, so I'm not going on a scavenger hunt trying to locate all my cherry tomatoes. So I will take this plastic clip. Good spot would be here because I have a cluster of tomatoes here. I don't want to interfere with that or with any suckers that are coming. There is a sucker right here that I'm not going to keep, so I pull that out. Put my clip here, and it's as simple as just snapping it in. Now you can see it is supported. Come over here to where the sucker formed, and I will put that guy, will be right here. Put it around the cattle panel, around the stem. There you can see that. Just a simple clip, and it's supported. And I got 2 stems, and so this is a double stem right now. It's going to be a lot more than that. And this is the sucker that came out of the crotch right here. And as you can see, it has turned into a production stem, and we are getting flowers up here. More suckers are coming out right here. And yeah, that's just how I use these little plastic clips on a cattle panel, and it's very, very convenient. Very easy to clip them in. A lot easier than using garden twine. I'll do another detailed video, but that is a quick rundown of how I use these plastic clips on my cherry tomatoes. You can even see right here another crotch, and this is another production stem, which I will probably let flower once, and then I'll cut off the tip of it so it doesn't continue growing, because you can see it's going away from my cattle panel, so that's not going to really work. So I'll let some tomatoes form here, cut off the tip, and then that will be the end of this sucker or production stem. So I'm back here at the garlic, and I've been patiently waiting for the garlic scapes to appear. The sun's kind of peeking in here, so it's kind of tough to see. It is early morning. It's when I like to do a lot of my work. But if you look in here, right there is a garlic scape. Got one here. Another one right here. And from my understanding is when they start to curl like that, you see how it curled? That's when you want to pull them out. So I'm going to take care of all my garlic scapes. Even over here, these guys are a lot smaller. So the bulb's not going to be huge, I don't believe. But even got garlic scapes here. So they finally all sent out their garlic scape, and I will be able to pull them off. And then we'll let some of the bottom leaves die, and then we'll be able to harvest some garlic. So, like I said, I'm not an expert on garden scapes, or growing garlic for that matter. But as far as I know, you should be able to just pull these out. So let's see. You see I got my garlic scape right here. Should be able to just pull it out is what I'm... So there is a garlic scape. And you can use these, you know, to eat or for cooking. That is what a garlic scape looks like. And you want to pull that off of your garlic because this is the flower. So if you let this continue, it will flower. And you don't want that. You want to pull it off so that you do get a nice garlic bulb down below. Alright guys, there are my garlic scapes. That I just pulled out. So we're one step closer to getting some garlic. While I'm over here, I did just want to show you something. I'm not going to take this netting off, but so it's kind of hard to see actually. But I put this netting over here because the groundhog came and chewed all the tops off these carrots. So the groundhog is definitely causing issues. I'm going to kind of make this a little better at some point. But for now, I just wanted to get a netting over it so that the groundhog cannot get in and destroy the carrots, and that they can recover, and I'll still get a good carrot harvest. Alright guys, so as I mentioned before, I've been dealing with groundhogs in the garden the last few years. Last year I caught about 6 of them, released them far away, and then the problem went away. Now this year so far I haven't seen any, and the other day I just noticed that there is one coming around the garden. You can see the pea, it pulled it down. So it's going after my peas. You know, most of them I have a little fenced in area so they can't get it on the front side, but the ones that came through the chicken wire, they can get to. If I come over here, this is where I first noticed the damage. Right there, you can see the kale. It enjoyed the kale, which is not a big deal. I'm not too upset about that. It's unfortunate, but... So I got the kale. I have some carrots over there by the garlic that it also bit off the tops of. That's why I have it covered now. Then obviously my broccoli. They really like broccoli and cauliflower. That's been covered for a while, so that's not a big deal. But I do have some carrots here that are about ready to be harvested. So I put a net on them over there. And they really like lettuce, but that's been covered the whole time. So I got to start getting my trapping down. See if I can get rid of them as soon as possible. I do not want to be losing too much to the groundhog. The tomatoes, they don't really go after the tomato leaves or anything like that. But when the tomatoes are ripening up, they will most definitely go after my tomatoes. And I've had them destroy some tomatoes in the past. And, they don't eat the whole thing. They take a couple bites and that's about it. I'll keep you updated on the groundhog issues. So guys, another thing that I want to do today is get some straw down around the plants. I do this for a couple reasons. One, the main reason is when it rains hard and the soil splashes up, it gets on these bottom leaves of the plants. That can cause disease issues that we want to avoid. Another reason, as we get later in the summer, when it's getting real hot out, it'll help keep the soil moist. I try and hold off for a little while until the temperatures start rising to do that, because obviously the tomatoes and such, they like, warmer soil. But because we've had all this rain, I started putting it down a lot earlier than the previous years. Another thing I want to mention is I've used Easy Straw for many years now and haven't really had any issues with seeds. It says 99% weed free. In the past, I didn't have any issues. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they've bought Easy Straw this year and they're having crazy, weed issues. I'll see a few here and there, but some people I've seen, online, they've just, exploded with weeds. So I'm going to use it. I put some previous stuff down the other week, but that was a bag from last year. So I'm not sure if maybe this batch for this year is not as good, but I'm going to put it down. I'll keep you updated, see how it looks. In the future, I may try and figure out, something else to use, like some wood chips or some type of mulch, so I can avoid that issue. But like I said, in the past, I never had any problems. So we'll do it again this year, see what happens. But really, all you're going to be doing, or all I do, is just spreading it around. All around the leaves, as far as the leaves go. And that way, for now, it's going to allow me to not get soil bouncing up all on the leaves, causing diseases. And then as it gets warmer, it's going to help with keeping the soil moist. When we get in those 90s, 100-degree weather. So that's all I really do, is just put it around as far out as my leaves are going to try and keep that soil from bouncing up. And it will. If you get some heavy rain, it will definitely do that. If you looked at some of my peppers or some plants that don't have any straw around it, it's got soil all over the bottom leaves. So just something that you can do to try and help prevent disease as much as possible. We all know disease is one of the main problems in the garden. Disease and pests. You're going to be fighting them. Doesn't matter where you live, you will always be fighting disease and pest. So just put it on here like that, and that's going to help protect the soil from bouncing up. And there's, obviously multiple reasons you can do this. So I'll go around and do that for all of them. You can see here, I never got to staking this guy up. We had some crazy gusty wind yesterday, so it fell over. But it is still in the ground, so I'll stake that up, and it'll be okay. But as you can see, these leaves are touching the ground. There's not much dirt on them, because I got the straw. All right, so another thing I have to do this today is give fertilizer to about everything in the garden. So every 2 weeks, I like to give a water-soluble fertilizer and a granular. Last week, I gave the granular fertilizer. So this week, I'll be doing the water soluble. It's really important to feed your plants. I think some people overdo it and others don't do enough. So I think every 2 weeks is a good time frame to fertilize. Right here I got AgroThrive. This is a fruit and flower, so it's a 335. They also have a general purpose, and that is, I think, a 333, a little more balanced. But it's organic. It's a very good option. This is the first year I'm using it, so I'll be able to get a good idea, how it does for my plants. Last year I used fish emulsion, which is a good option as well. I think that's a 511. So figure it out, pick a fertilizer, and see how it does for you. This is, let's see what it says here, 2 ounces for 1 gallon. So I got 2-gallon water container here. So 2 ounces, so that'll be 4 ounces. So that'll be 8 tablespoons. I'll put in each mix it up, and go around and water the plants. All right, so we'll do these tomatoes right here. I got it all mixed up in my container. Now I'll just go to the base of the plant and give it a good 10 seconds. Let it soak in. Now you want to do it early in the morning or in the evening so that, it gets down in the soil and it's not going to evaporate from the sun. Now you can see I got some runoff there, which is not ideal, but so maybe I'll do 5 seconds, let it soak in, and then another 5. And that should be plenty for you. That's all you do. So like I said, every 2 weeks, give it some water-soluble fertilizer, and it's really going to help you in the long run. Something that in the past I didn't really do as much, just because it does take time. If I don't have a lot of time, then maybe I skip over that. But that is something that I don't want to skip over, and I shouldn't have in the past. All right, let's get into seeing what we can harvest today. It's not too much, but I think we'll get a little bit of stuff we can harvest. So what I mentioned here, you can see these are dragon tongue bush beans. Planted them maybe a week and a half ago, so they all popped up looking very nice. I will be Mexican bean beetle. It's always caused me issues with my bush beans, so they're going to be under here for a while. Keep an eye on that. And here in a little bit, I will plant another row of the dragon tongue bush beans. Every couple weeks I'll plant some going through this bed. I will do lima beans next time. Let's see here. We got this purple fusion lettuce. I'm going to harvest the whole thing. I got a lot of lettuce still left. Got some over here, which groundhog might get, but that's all right because we got a bunch over here. And it's pretty good. It's June and we're still harvesting lettuce. This purple fusion is supposed to be more heat tolerant. Plus, I got a shade cloth on it. So I should be able to get lettuce over here for quite a while still. Let's cut this and see what we got. See some roly-polies in here. There you go. Look at that. That is a beautiful lettuce. I will get some of these bottom ones out of the way. See some slugs as well. Some roly-polies and some slugs. That is a nice lettuce right there that will treat me well. It'll feed me for the week. Gotta love it. All the hard work, and you finally start harvesting. And like I said, I've been harvesting lettuce nonstop for a long time now, so it's been a great lettuce season. Let's pick you up and look over here. As you can see, I think you can see, the carrot shoulders are popping out. So let's see if see how the carrots are looking. These ones will be first. So I just want to take one out and see how they are. Okay. So that's a decent sized carrot. Maybe a little bigger would be better, but I'm happy with that. It's telling me that they are forming well. Maybe I'll take one more just for the fun of it. Yeah. It's a nice carrot right there. This is a candy carrot. Let's take this one here. We'll see how they taste, but candy carrot so far I've been pretty happy with. It's supposed to be able to deal with some tougher soil. You know, carrots really like loose soil, and this was bred so that it'll be able to push through rocks or any hard soil a little better, so you don't get all these funky looking carrots. Now this soil in here is very loose. It's good soil, so that's not really proven much by seeing how straight they are, but I might plant them in the in-ground area at some point, maybe in the fall, and see how they do. We'll get one more. There you go. Some beautiful candy carrots. All right, so let's plant some dragon tongue bush beans. If you've never tried these beans before, they're absolutely delicious. Kind of like a creamy with purple spots. Check them out. They're definitely a delicious bean. So I already got one row here, so I'm gonna go about 30 inches apart. We can go 36, I guess, is what they recommend. But I apologize, not the greatest angle, but you'll get the idea. So there's the bean. And I will simply just put them, and I definitely oversow, and I can thin out if I need to. But I want to make sure I'm getting good germination. These beans do germinate pretty well, so it's not, you know, that big of a deal. I could probably sow a little lighter. See here, must got displaced from all the rain we had, and it is. Get a little closer look for that. See that? It's sprouting. So we'll put that one in there. So yeah, I'm just going to go across the row, lay them on top like that. And then what I'll do is push it down about an inch and a half. I like to go. Inch and a half. Push it down. Then I'll go across the whole row like that. Cover them up a little bit. Then I'll water them in. And that way I have bush beans here that popped up. You know, they got starting to get their true leaves. And then, you know, in a couple weeks, a week or two, I'll have more popping up. That way I have beans to harvest throughout, and I won't get them all at once. All right, we got that row of dragon tongue bush beans planted. So we got these guys that are moving along, growing well. Then I'll have more popping up. And, you know, that's just a good way to make sure you have beans throughout the summer. Obviously in here I had spinach and lettuce. You can still see some lettuce there. So lettuce has already been in here. And I actually had radishes in here as well, and they're long gone. But same bed, you know, radish, lettuce. Now we're getting some beans. We'll do more lima beans back there. And then come fall, this will be some lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. And that is how you can make the best use out of a bed, you know. You don't want to see a lot of empty space. And when you can, you know, replant or plant something else. Just had to stop over here and show you guys. Beautiful potato flower. I mean, they are everywhere. Beautiful it is. Now that is telling me that there is potatoes forming down under. So that is a good sign, and that's what you want to see. Now most potatoes do flower. I believe that some do not, but most of them do. Come over here. More flowers. There won't be too long until we get some potatoes. Beautiful sight looking at the garden. All that hard work. See all this green. Getting a little bit of harvest so far. One thing I did want to mention is I do have a little produce stand that I put out front for the community. So I do have a lot of tomatoes, a couple different kinds, but a lot of varieties, and also a lot of the same kind. And that is simply because I am putting them on the stand. So I have a lot of tomatoes for that. I mostly put out tomatoes, peppers, eggplants. What else we got? Zucchini, beans. I'll put some potatoes out. So mostly summer crops is what I put out. With my space, it's hard to do spring crops in that quantity to be able to put some on the stand. So I mostly do summer crops. So just want to mention that if you might be thinking I got a lot of tomatoes. I mean, I do love a tomato. It's one of my favorite things to grow. You can't beat a homegrown tomato, so the more the merrier for me. But I just wanted to mention that. Another thing I want to mention before I wrap it up here today is, this channel is for people to come along on this garden journey with me, okay? So I've been gardening for about 6-7 years. I am no way an expert. I have learned a lot throughout the years, but I am not an expert. So I am telling you guys or teaching you what I know and what I have learned. At the same time, I am still learning as myself, and everyone is still learning. When you're gardening, you're never going to stop learning. So hopefully you can learn something from me. Hopefully you can learn something from my failures, or you can learn something with me with my successes. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Such a beautiful day outside. I hope you're doing well in your garden. I hope you have fun and get peace in your garden. And I hope to see you guys next time. If you like the video, please subscribe. And there'll be a lot more where that comes from. Thank you. Happy growing. And have a wonderful day.